All right, we will call the meeting to order, please, with the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you and welcome, everyone. Roll call, Mr. Lombard.
Long.
Yes.
Odie. Yes. Saxer.
Yes.
Talcott is absent. Scott.
Yes.
All right, on the agenda tonight, there was an item added under personnel, number 8. So with that, I would entertain a motion to approve the agenda as amended, please.
So moved.
There's been a first and a second. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion passes. Thank you. No conflict of interest disclosure or waiver requests tonight. Also no community input. So that takes us to our general business section. And we'll start with administration reports with superintendent's report.
Thank you, Madam Chair. A few items to update you on here this evening. Inspiration Elementary School construction timeline remains as previously presented. The one item I would just want to note is myself, Mr. Lundberg, and Director Henschel met with the City of Sioux Falls in terms of the playground down at Inspiration Elementary, as well as growth in and around the Brandon Valley School District in the city limits of Sioux Falls a couple weeks ago. So that's just an item I would note in terms of Inspiration. The staffing is really coming together. I would note Encore will be provided through other buildings staff with the reduction of kiddos, mostly from Fred Assam Elementary, and then also some from Valley. We are able to utilize other staff to accommodate those Encore teaching assignments. Special education teacher assignments are completed and noted within the transfer process. And then we are really digging into the classified staff assignment and hiring process here over the course of the next 2 weeks before our next board meeting with the new assignments that we've approved. We have those COVID EAs that were approved this year that may go to a different classified position within the district or continue in their role as a COVID EA for next year. So those items are all in progress as we speak. Budget process overview again remains as has been previously presented. The only item that I would note for the sake of the public is our negotiations process, which we'll speak to in just a bit, is a key component to that budgetary process as well. Would note in May you'll receive that preliminary budget presentation, and then in July you'll receive the actual budget hearing, and there will be potential action. COVID-19 pandemic, would note Q4 COVID-19 restrictions remain in place and they will continue as is. Some individuals may have seen within the news that there was some new things that came out from the CDC regarding 3 feet as opposed to 6. I would note that those have absolutely no impact on us because those that change to 3 feet is having mask on mask, and given our current state of affairs, we are strongly recommended mask usage, and if an individual chooses to utilize a mask, they are protected whether they are 1 foot away or 6 feet away. So really no change with the CDC's most recent change. To us, we will continue to move forward as we have navigated this thus far. Summer facility use, one item I would note is we are hoping that as of June 1st, we're able to open our facilities to groups that involve Brandon Valley School District students. That's something that's really important to us. We want to make certain our facilities are open to our kids and the organizations that support our kids. Superintendent evaluation and contract negotiations, no change to what has been previously presented. Would note this evening in executive session we'll have some time for negotiation preparations as a board. Our date that's set for negotiations between our Personnel Welfare Committee and the BVA is March 24th. We have additional dates scheduled if necessary. And if we are successful in the negotiations process on March 24th, we will bring forward on April 12th the master contract to ratify, and then we'll have classified wage recommendation, administrative salary recommendations, and superintendent negotiations once that process has been complete. The high school addition and some priorities. So later on in the agenda, you will approve a contract with Architecture Incorporated for architecture services associated with the high school addition. Prior to doing that, I just want to outline the high-level priorities that we have with our high school addition. So first and foremost, general classrooms and general classroom space to increase our capacity, our student capacity here at Brandon Valley High School. A second priority is ground floor special education space. We won't move the entire department to the ground floor, but we will move some space for special education to the ground floor, and that's ultimately so that we're able to better serve our students that have mobility issues, as the second floor can present some significant challenges dealing with those students that have those challenges. And then some additional science lab classroom space. So those are really our three academic priorities in terms of the high school addition. And then in terms of our just physical space in and around the high school, I just note that we want to maximize land usage, which means maximize the available land and have the least amount of impact on the footprint, and also upgrade our east facility face. So when you think about the road where everyone sees Brandon Valley High School, here on the east side, we'll have the ability to upgrade that face and give that high profile side of our building a facelift. And then obviously we want to minimize the impact to parking. So tentative timeline, we have preliminary planning currently in progress. The project will be bid in the winter of 2022. Spring, summer, we will begin the project, and then over the course of the 22-23 school year, construction will be in progress, will be set to open in the fall of 23 for the 23-24 school year. Some information sharing items that I would note. We'll work with the planning, we'll incorporate planning with the Buildings and Grounds Board Committee. We've already met once as we've worked with our architect. The Central Office Administration works through planning the preliminary concept and floor plan with the architect, and then we've also incorporated the Brandon Valley High School Administration into our preliminary planning in terms of floor plan and those types of decision. Then when we get into the fall of 2021, we'll really ramp up the renderings and the floor plans, and all of those items will be brought forward to you, the Board of Education, as well as the Administrative Council, Teacher Liaison Council, Classified Council, and then of course the Brandon Valley High School staff. Summer lunch program items to note: we have been approved for the months of June and July. Working with our new director, we are going to continue to utilize a grab and go on Tuesdays. So the model that we used last summer will continue. So every Tuesday, a week's worth of breakfast, a week's worth of lunches will be distributed. Locations and times will be announced, and the information will be shared with families in the coming months. And then it's also relevant to note that we will have on-site summer lunch services for our EL summer school program, as well as the Boys and Girls Club program. School calendar items to note: Thursday, April 1st, we have a 2-hour early dismissal, and Friday, April 2nd, Monday, April 5th, there is no school for spring break. With that, would certainly entertain any questions you have at this point.
I've got one, Jared. Under your summer lunch program, will this be free, or will there be some expense to the patrons?
Thank you very much, Mr. Rhodey. The meals are provided to any child 18 years or younger for free.
Any other questions for Superintendent Larson? Thank you very much for your report tonight. That takes us to general business item number 1, to approve the 2020-2021 academic calendar modification.
Thank you, Madam Chair. To date, we have lost 3 days of school for weather, as outlined within the memo provided to you within the board packet. What we would like to do is not change the last day of school for students. So within this modification recommendation, it is no change for students or families. And then Thursday, May 20th, becomes in service, and Friday, May 21st becomes the workshop day. So no change for students or families, but an additional day added for staff, and that additional day is an in-service day. A primary focus of that day will be on our ELA training that we have coming forward with our adoption. With that, would certainly entertain any questions you have. A copy of the actual recommended calendar is listed for your review.
Hearing no questions, I would entertain a motion to approve the 2020-2021 academic calendar modification as presented, please.
Second.
There's been a first and a second. All those in favor? Opposed? Motion passes. Thank you. Item number 2 under general business, approve the ballot for the aspsd contested election for the Southeast Region Board of Director for Tom Farrell from the Madison Central School District.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Would just note that I consulted with the ASBSD executive board member that happens to be on our board, Ms. Ellie Saxer, prior to bringing forward the administrative recommendation of Mr. Tom Farrell. Mr. Farrell is a Madison Central School District board member who's been on the board for a long time and has proudly served public education for many years. Certainly would turn the floor over to Ms. Saxer to note any other items prior to casting our vote.
Mr. Tom Farrell is a very active participant in ASBSD. Like Dr. Larson said, he is dedicated to public education, has been for many years. He continues to take on many projects and goes above and beyond to serve. So it's a very easy decision to recommend to put our ballot towards Mr. Farrell.
Thank you. If there are no further questions on that item, I would entertain a motion to approve the ballot for ASBSD contested election for the Southeast Region Board of Director for Tom Farrell from the Madison Central School District.
So moved.
There's been a first and a second. All those in favor? Opposed? Motion passes. Thank you. Items 3 through 5 are there for our consent approval. I would entertain a motion to approve those as presented, please.
So moved.
There's been a first and a second. All those in favor? Opposed? Motion passes. Thank you. Personnel, item number 1, approve request for additional general fund staffing for the 2021-2022 school year.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I have 3 additional FTE that I would be requesting for the 21-22 school year. Wanted to wait a little bit and evaluate our kindergarten and junior kindergarten registration numbers prior to bringing forward this information, but I had an opportunity to meet with my elementary staff, my elementary administration, and go through their sections, their section sizes, and their school building populations. So I have, at this point in time, 3 FTE that I would like to have approved for the 21-22 school year. The first is a 4th grade teacher at Robert Bennis Elementary. Right now, what we have is we have a situation whereas we've had to assign some resident Robert Bennis Elementary students to a different building because there wasn't space in one specific section. The addition of this teacher will alleviate that issue and we'll be able to bring back those residents into their respective elementary. The other is an Inspiration Elementary teacher in 4th grade. The current 4th grade enrollment at Inspiration is 33 students, so it's a large section of kids, and understanding that we'll likely see growth in and around that area. This just provides us with a very proactive way of allowing that growth to occur and the acceptance of some additional 4th grade Inspiration Elementary kiddos. And then the last one is a K-12 health and physical education teacher. The location and the assignment is to be determined. This is due to the additional sections and student growth, and they will be placed as necessary with staff. With that, would certainly note that the previous general fund staffing request was about $1,350,000, and then with this additional request takes you up to $1,500,000 and change. So with that, would certainly entertain any questions you have.
Hearing no questions, I would entertain a motion to approve the request for additional general fund staffing for the 2021-2022 school year.
So moved.
There's been a first and a second. All those in favor? Opposed? Motion passes. Items 2 through 9 are there for our consent approval. I would entertain a motion to approve those as presented, please.
So moved.
There's been a first and a second. All those in favor? Opposed? Motion passes. Items 10 through 21 are there for information only, as most of those have to deal with transferring. Communication, I didn't see much listed under that section. That takes us to our formal reports. Any formal board reports that anyone would like to share tonight?
For Senate Bill 177 on the homeschool, we're in the process of gathering many questions across the state that are being submitted to the ASBSD legal team, and they'll get us back kind of a cumulative report of what's been submitted, their advice, and as well as maybe going back to the governor to ask any of her thoughts on how we progress forward. So we're currently in a lot of information gathering and looking at how we're going to lean upon each other as well as the state to find out how we progress forward. So just stay tuned.
Thank you. Anyone else have anything tonight? Hearing none, I would entertain a motion to enter into executive session as allowed by South Dakota Codified Law 1-25-2.4 for teacher contract negotiation preparation.
So moved.
Second.
There's been a first and a second. All those in favor? Opposed? Motion passes. Thank you. We will wait until everybody goes before we start. Thank you for coming, everyone. Okay, we are coming out of executive session, and it is 7:08 p.m. by my clock. With that, I would entertain a motion to adjourn. There's been a first and a second. All those in favor? Opposed? Motion passes. Thank you very much.